Virgo, welcome to March. This is your big full moon month. Remember, you have the full moon on March 14th at 2:55 a.m. in your sign of Virgo. It's going to come with a lunar eclipse. We've been talking about this lunar eclipse as the purging eclipse, the taking the garbage out eclipse. For more information on that, head over to the March month ahead with more details about how this full moon will be opposite 5 planets in Pisces. It's going to be an intense full moon. This is a great time to get things in order, to go through things, to purge, okay? And make room for that solar eclipse coming in on the 29th of the month. That will bring us new things. So let's make space for that, okay? Now, Virgo, you've been dealing with a lot of planets opposite you in the sign of Pisces. So that when an opposition is going on, like both sides want something, Pisces wants you to kind of reflect, retreat, break some old patterns of being, and rest. And Virgo, you like to show up and organize and take care of things and be of service. Okay. So making sure that you're having balance in those regards. You've had a trine going on with the planet Uranus, a positive aspect, a positive trine with Uranus in the earth sign of Taurus. You're an earth sign, Virgo. So you make this nice trine. So new things can come in. You just have to purge and make space for them. So let's go over, and we're using this nice 12 house zodiac spread here, this wheel. And what we're going to do is we're going to place cards on to each house for you this month and tell you what you need to know in each area. Love to hear your feedback if you like this or not. I know I change up what I do a lot. I'm going to put one card in the middle here. This is going to be your theme card for the month. And we have the Starlight card, or the star traditionally. This is from this beautiful Forest of Enchantment deck. And so look at that. Look at you just looking at the stars, taking it all in. This is an Aquarian card. And Aquarius rules the 11th house here, the house of your hopes and dreams, your goals, your social life, your friends, the big picture kind of newness, new energy, okay? So your theme here, they're stopping to take in the stars. They're stopping to observe the stars. I think a lot of planets are scrunched together right now, so I think we're able to see a lot of them in the night sky. So we've got some themes of Aquarian energy, and we've got themes of a major arcana, or one of the fated cards. One of the cards to, like, I believe in free will also, but I do believe that we have some themes that we came here to learn. And this one is almost to connect higher, to think bigger, to look at the bigger picture. Okay. Now I'm going to place a card onto each of the houses and go through each house for you. Okay, Virgo, we're starting off with the first house here. This is Aries' house. This is the house of the child. This is a house of like brain development, right? And it's rules the head. It has to do with our public image, or how we see ourselves. It's a house of I am. Okay. It's ruled by Mars, the planet of action. And so here you are starting off with the Queen of Chalices, or the Queen of Cups. And she is the queen of emotion. And she's right in there with that water. She's holding her cup, and she's comfortable in her emotional body. Okay. So paying attention to feelings. I am house. So how are you doing today? I am feeling this way, right? Making sure that because that's kind of a purge, up and out, right? So maybe we can purge into our notebooks and write some things out. Now, your second house is Taurus's house. It's ruled by Venus. It's a house of value. It's a house of money. Because it's ruled by Venus, it's a house of relationships also, but more about the relationship with ourself and our relationship with what's of value. And here you are with the cover photo here on this Forest of Enchantment deck back there, one of my favorites. And we got the Council of Animals. And this is card number 20. So this is the Judgment card. And they're all just looking at you and looking almost like for your response. They're here to aid you. So it's like you've got nature giving you advice, all your guides kind of showing up. This is card number 20. So it's traditionally the Judgment card. And we know the Judgment card is Scorpio energy. And we know it usually has themes about like laying some old things to rest and making peace with some things and releasing it. And because this is the second house and we got card number 20, which we would call it 2 in numerology, I think there's a lot here about your relationship with value, your relationship with money. We're in a Venus retrograde. And so you've got some great helpers here. Also kind of gives me themes of like what really brings you true pleasure. So far, you've got like the ocean and you've got nature and all the animals. So the simple things, the major arcana to be out there looking at stars, looking at the starlight. Okay, so kind of keeping it simple, bringing in more nature into what's important to you, and getting some good advisors also to help you out with this. Okay, now your third house is Gemini's house, and this is the house of your local community. This is the house of communication, but it rules like your environment, everything around you. And you have the 10 of chalices or the 10 of cups here. More nature going on. They're outside having a picnic, watching the child play. And so there's simple things here. It's really beautiful. How you think and how you communicate. 10 of cups can be very emotional, right? There's a lot of cups. There's a lot of emotion. But then it's also showing me your environment, nature. So try to spend as much time in it as you can, okay? Now, fourth house, Cancer's house ruled by the moon. This is the house of the home, family, nurturing energy. It's like the root chakra. It's like almost like you go in there to recharge. And this is a very psychic, watery house. And from the Dali tarot deck, you have the 6 of Wands. That's an interesting 6 of Wands. Good old Dali with all his, gets you thinking with his photography. Okay, or his art, I mean. Okay, so there looks like there's like this path and some people are walking it, some people are being pulled. But the 6 of Wands is a card of triumph, a card of moving forward. So it looks like there's a lot of people on your team. It almost literally looks like you're moving. Okay, so there could be a move being made or a trip being made. Again, spending a lot of time in nature. All right. Fifth house, house of fun, Leo's house, house of children, joy of their hearts, house of creativity, it's house of romance. And we've got the 8 of challenges or the traditional 8 of swords. There's definitely a lot of worry, a lot of overthinking, very human card, thinking you're stuck. When you're not, it's just a way of thinking about it. All right. So that's in your house of fun. So you may want to free yourself up a little bit, talk positively to yourself, let yourself off the hook a little bit. As we move into the 6th house, which is your house, Virgo, the house of work, it's like your day job, routines, health. I think of mental health. I think of this is a house of service and the fine line between service and servitude. And you've got the 5 of Athams, which is the 5 of swords traditionally in this Green Witch Tarot. My attention goes back there to that peacock and how this guy's wearing a peacock feather in his hat. So he's kind of looking at 3 swords. His attention's on the 3, but then there's 2 more swords being brought in. So there may be some old pain there, maybe something like a peacock lives a long time. So it could be like something from the past is coming back up. It could be a health problem or just a way that you're thinking about something. It kind of shows back up and it's like, okay, wait a minute. What helpers can I bring in here? Because there's 2 swords being offered. New way of looking at it, some new information coming in. Okay. But a 5 is a number of change. So we see change there in routines, habits, health, all that kind of stuff. Now, as we move into the 7th house, which is the house of Libra, it's the house of relationships. On this sheet, it says legal issues. I don't really like that. I like to call it legal matters because I don't want issues. I want legal matters. I want contracts and I don't know, like good legal things coming through, right? So here we go. We've got the Weaver of Spells. And this is traditionally the Knight of Wands, who's usually a guy and is considered like the bad boy of the tarot deck. And here it's this beautiful woman spinning. Okay. And so she looks joyful and she's it's very magical. And so she's kind of working her magic there in the house of relationships. Very beautiful. Also, just a solo person. So, put the attention on the relationship with yourself and feeling good. That's what I'm seeing there. Now, as we move into the 8th house, this is Scorpio's house. On this sheet, it says joint finances, taxes, sex, and death. Straight to the point there. Scorpio, right? It's a house of transformation and change, but it's a hot and spicy house because it rules sex. It's a very intuitive house. It rules death, so it's associated with the other side. And you've got the King of Wands showing up here. So far you've had a queen, a knight. I guess that's it. Here's the king. So he's a fire king. We're talking about hot and spicy house. And he's sitting there. Usually the King of Wands is like the traveling king. But for all we know, he could be out on the road. But he's just looking pretty happy and content there. He's got a little playful friend down here. That's the same one that was over. Looks like a little otter that was in the 10 of Cups there too. Got a lot of animals showing up here in general. So the King of Wands showing up in Scorpio's house. He's not going to get sunk into any of those themes. He wants freedom. So that's not a bad thing to show up there in the 8th house. As we move into the 9th house, this is Sagittarius's house. I think of it as the house of freedom. It's the higher mind, the bigger picture. It's Jupiter's house. It's a house of luck and blessings and expansion. There's themes of religion or the opposite, breaking free from religion. It's a house of publishing and teaching. It's the house of the higher mind and of travel, especially foreign travel. And here we go. We got the 8 of Swords again. So this is the second time you had the 8 of Swords. The first time was over here in the 5th house, which is Leo's fire house. And now again in the 9th house, another fire house. So we see a lot of worry and overthinking. Let's look up and see, because that is from the Impressionist Tarot. And the Impressionist Tarot is all famous paintings. And this one is by Vincent van Gogh. So let's take a peek at that one again. Windmill in the background. And it says, I feel a certain calm. There is safety in the midst of danger. What would life be if we had no courage to attempt anything? Okay, so there's themes of courage there to move forward. And let's see, it says, while the 8 of Swords shows up in a reading, you need to find a way to free yourself from the bonds of entrapment. Cut ties, slip out the back door, and try not to fall into the same trap again. That's pretty interesting. I never thought of it like that. So not falling for the same trap. And think about that with the themes of the 5th house, the ideas of fun, right? And then the 9th house, maybe some ideas of travel or the bigger picture. Free yourself up. And that is the house of freedom, the 9th house. Okay, now we move into the 10th house. This is Capricorn's house. This is the house people think like career, but I often think of your long-term success because, not everybody's out there working at their career. Some people are home raising kids or, tending to land or things like that. So this is the house of what's important. This is the house of your reputation. It's the house of fame and awards, okay? And we've got let's see, this is from the Dolly deck. Like I said, they're a little hard to read, but my pendulum insisted that this deck be included today. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got, do we have 6 wands again? Didn't we already have 6 wands? 2, 4, 6. That was 7 of wands down there. 3, 4, 5, 6. That was 7 of wands in the 4th house. I didn't realize that. Okay, so we do see a lot of forward movement there, but we've got the 6 of wands in the 10th house. And this is a card of victory. Okay. So if you have something going on in the career that you're concerned about, or you're wondering if it's going to work out, you got a card of victory moving through the house, the 10th house. Okay. So that's a really good thing. Now, as we move into the 11th house, Aquarius's house, the house of your hopes and your dreams. It's the house of large groups of people. So it has themes of like friends and your social life. It's also the house of newness. It's goals and hopes. And you've got the 3 of Swords here, 3 of challenges. So it looks like there's some pain going on here. So there could be some issues of friendships. We know that could happen. We know we're going through the purge in Virgo, so you may have some themes there. Just feel your feelings, speak your piece. And we're in retrograde, so you know these things are going to be revisited again. Now, in the 12th house, when we go into the Pisces house, it's called the house of self-undoing or the undoing. I like to think of undoing old karma. This is a house of secrets. This is the house of anything that takes you away from society. So in old school astrology, it ruled jails and hospitals. It also rules drugs and alcohol, but I like to think of it as a house of retreating, resting, recharging. And here the King of Pentacles shows up. So this is a great thing to see. This is the king of money, the king of anything of value, an earth king. And really it's you, Virgo. That's you. You are an earth king. Cards are non-gender. Kings go after what they want. And he looks like everything is in place for him. And again, he's out in nature. So make sure that you're taking some time in nature, stepping away, recharging. Okay. I see you. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I just think that you're overthinking a lot and you're worrying. So free yourself up from that in whatever way that you can. Envision things working out for you. There's some things you're going to have to deal with, some old things that come up. It's almost like to see if you've dealt with it. It's interesting that this Three of Swords reference was here in your 6th house with his attention on those Three of Swords. But it shows up again in your 11th house. In Aquarius's house, the actual Three of Swords shows up. So it could just be, I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that it's like you're going to have some friendship things, like maybe all your friends aren't really that good for your health. Maybe there's some people that you've been with a really long time, but they don't really have, I got the word respect for you. And I see that your guides are kind of showing up to give you some encouragement or scoot you in the right direction. Okay. Don't be afraid to tap into your emotions. It's okay. And let those things come up to the top that want to be purged out. So I would keep an ongoing list of what you need to purge out. It's interesting to me that your theme card of the month being the star card here in the middle, it's Aquarius and it rules that 11th house where that Three of Swords showed up. So I think you're being guided into different situations to meet different people. But in the meantime, just take some quiet time for yourself, observe, connect back to nature. I think that's where you're going to find your power again. All right, I'm going to roll you some dice here. Let's see what else we need to tell you. And we rolled the South Node in the sign of Cancer in the 8th house, Scorpio's house up there where you had the King of Wands. Okay, in Cancer's house, you had this 7 of Wands, which we figured out was the 7. There's a lot going on, forward movement. So the South Node shows up, it's the past, cup of the past. In the sign of Cancer, which is like a mom energy, nurturing, emotional way, in the 8th house of transformation. So this could be that you're moving into a new space, that you're feeling emotional about it. Maybe you're moving away from some of your friends. This could be literally or figuratively. Maybe you're just moving away from some people in general. The 8th house of transformations coming up, and it's also asking you not to get caught up in the past stuff, okay? And that was kind of what that 8 of Swords reminded me of, like free yourself from these old things that bind you. And just because something like is familiar to you, the South Node, doesn't mean it's right for you, okay? Especially if this comes in the form of love. There may be some people coming back into your life. It happens a lot during a Venus retrograde. And this time it's kind of asking you not to lose your power in it. All right. Now, speaking of power, let me give you some power days for you this month. You rolled the sign Cancer and the sign Scorpio. So we know that the moon, let's see, it'll be in the sign of Cancer starting on Friday the 7th at 11:29 a.m. through the weekend, Saturday the 8th, Sunday the 9th until 6:59 p.m. Those are power times for you. And along with Monday the 17th at 3:30 a.m., which is St. Patty's Day, through the 18th and through the 19th until 4:17 p.m. These are power times for you, Virgo. Thanks for joining me.